Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of January 25th, 2024. The current character challenge is Apocalypse Darkseid. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters are Bane, Nightwing, and Wonder Woman, who are available at Silver, Bronze, and Silver if you're looking at the lowest tier to get each of them respectively. And they're all available directly from the store. His passive is Black Racer, which is basic combo has a chance of summoning the Black Racer, who causes random unique effects on his opponent. He's got 1,100 attack and 1,400 health as his base stats. That's Apocalypse Darkseid, not the Black Racer.
Okay. Yeah, so his stats, pretty decent high-end stats. They used to be really high when he was introduced. The combo under effects are interesting, that passive. So there's 3 of them. One is Bleeding, which is damage over time and increased damage. Cursed, which is that unblocked hits are 100% critical until the person who's tagged, the player who's tagged, tags out. So Darkseid's teammate actually can take advantage if you tag a teammate in. And the last one is Lifesteal. You take health, I think about 15%. So the ratio is that half the time it's Bleeding, about a third of the time it's Cursed, so that leaves the 1/6 of the time it's Lifesteal. And Bleed, what's funny for those of us who used to play it, Bleed used to last until the opponent tagged out.
Yeah.
Which was kind of ridiculous. It made him super powerful. That was nerfed in a previous update a long time ago, and it probably had to be, because otherwise it made him probably just a little bit too powerful. His special 2 has splash damage. Not in the first part of the hit, but everything after. So around 25% of the later hits, which ends up being just a little bit less, maybe like 23%.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing in this footage, and I just realized now I'm actually probably going to have to make some new footage, because I had an idea after I had already done the footage for Apocalypse Darkseid. It would be fun to use him as your special specialist with Tantutone Master's Death Card, and potentially lean into splash damage with Fourth World Mace, especially if you can manage to trigger his combo under Curse Effect. And the wiki actually says his damage is lower because of splash, but the stated amounts don't look like it's reduced, so it might be that the stated amounts are wrong.
Yeah.
But our previous loadout was actually to give him Quake Engine, which would boost special damage by 50% against an opponent with less than 1 bar of power, and against an opponent with more than 1 bar of power, there's still a chance that we steal power and bring it down to less than 1. And the original idea I had for him as a variation for this, second time around using him as a challenge character and focusing on him was to use Claw of Horus to handle Astro Harness. But the more I was thinking about it, I thought, is it really efficient to use his third slot for basically just one potential gear that you could be facing? And I'd totally forgotten that one of our strategies for a problematic, not exactly problematic, a difficult character to play like this, whose special 2 effectively won't knock an opponent out except on the last hit. I think in theory, the first hit can knock the opponent out. It doesn't do a lot of damage though. So you can't really, you've got to have somebody who's an opponent that's been softened up quite a bit. So effectively, he's one of those later characters who will do a bunch of hits, but can't sort of finish off with more damage against the next player tagging in. So there's the risk of tagging effects. Secret of that would be Enchantress gear, but the problem with Enchantress gear then is that it makes it harder to use Rebirth Raven, because you still need somebody to handle problematic gear. Yeah. See, problematic, I know I'm using it wrong. Gear that's a problem, but it's not problematic is like a...
Gear that's like an issue.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like problematic tends to be more like a judgment kind of thing. Like, and I got to figure out how to... Anyways.
Like socially problematic.
Exactly. So the biggest problem we see is it's a nice comparison and a contrast to last week's Earth 2 Flash, right? So Earth 2 Flash has the same problem. Can't knock out on special 2 except on the last hit. But Earth 2 Flash's special 1 was good enough because he stags in some of the time. You stacked the boosted stun damage with Cloak and Scythe. And
you said stags in, you mean stuns on tag in, right?
Oh God, did I say that?
Yeah, you're just your brain's going faster than your mouth. It's okay.
I think my brain's just off the rails right now. So his passive also lets you crit on every hit against a stunned opponent, so you don't need gear for that. Special 1, multiple hits. stacking stun damage, you knock out opponents with one special, one stun, and there's a good chance you're going to end up doing hits to the next opponent too.
Mm-hmm.
Darkseid doesn't have that. His special one just isn't great. So the combo ender for Cursed to guarantee crit hits is only a third of the time, but Bleed will boost damage 20%, and that's half the time. So you're still looking at most of the time, 5 out of 6 times, you will be doing something to increase the amount of damage that you're doing, which is not awful. If anything, despite lifesteal, usually when there's a scarcity, it's because it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather not have lifesteal and have every...
Wait, if it's 1/3 and 1/2, isn't it like... is it 5 out of 6?
Yeah.
Isn't it 4 out of 6?
Is it?
Yeah.
Half is 3.
3 out of 6.
Yeah.
Plus
1/3
is...
is...
Oh, 2 out of 6. Yeah. No. Sorry, you're right.
I'm mathing good.
Your math makes sense. No, you're right.
I feel like Charlie. And It's Always Sunny. All right, so we've got a fun video where we keep him big during his special 2 because of triggering Elsewhere Flash's bullet time in the middle of it. I don't think you can do that anymore because specials no longer get interrupted by bullet time. Oh, I should also mention, his basics are really slow. If you're facing him, you can interrupt it with a special, but the AI won't do this, so you don't have to worry about that happening to you when you're using Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there we go. Based off of the challenge cycle pattern, we expect next week to be Arkham Knight, Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And 23 challenge characters, unfortunately, are missing from the current cycle that were available at one point and are no longer sort of coming around and becoming accessible for people.
And if you're interested in them, though, we are currently in our season of Q&A is our Lost Challenge characters. We've done 4 of the Lost Challenge characters that haven't been around for years.
So you can check out some gameplay footage of them and a description of them at the start of each episode.
Exactly.
Yeah. This week's multiplayer reward is Flashpoint Deathstroke, whose passive is Pirate Crew, which is Deathstroke has a chance on special attacks to be assisted by Flashpoint teammates. The more Flashpoint characters, the more attacks he gets on his combo ender. He's got 1,240 attack and 1,360 health. It's one of those ones where they split up the 100 sort of unevenly.
Right.
And based off of the challenge cycle, we expect the Batmobile to be next week's reward.
Right. So he's got really good stats. They're not the highest, but they're close enough to not really matter. And just by being Flashpoint, he's one of the best cards because he can take advantage of Batman's crit damage boost. And both elements of his passive, even though they're not exactly synergistic, they are both pretty great. Mm-hmm. You could gear him to be your basic damage specialist with all the extra combo ender hits. So the normal damaging combos, so the tap combo does 2%, 2%, 2%. And then if you get the combo ender, you get an extra 3%. So that's 9% total.
Yeah.
With no Flashpoint teams, or sorry, no
Flashpoint teammates.
So yeah, with one Flashpoint teammate, he will get an extra 3 more combo ender hits for 18%. And if he's got a second Flashpoint teammate...
Because all the extra combo ender hits deal the same amount of damage as the normal combo ender hit. So it's that 3% of your total damage stat.
Unlike when he's got 2 Flashpoint teammates, then he will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more combo ender hits. And the last 2 are 4%. So he'll get 29% of his health in one combo if you get the combo ender. So that sounds pretty great. And it would be if that's all it was. But... we actually prefer him to be our special specialist because his special one becomes deadly enough from the specials assist part of his passive to knock out pretty much anybody they're going to be facing in multiplayer, even when they're scaled up higher at the tail end of an ultimate ladder. And even if they have a revive, like Blackest Night team with Hawkgirl, Fourth Girl gear set, because that multi-hit special 1, keeps on hitting them after they revive.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that we like to leverage his ability is adding League of Assassins knives for splash. Deadly, absolutely deadly. Mm-hmm. One of the few weaknesses is facing someone with Astro Harness. And when you say weakness, right, it's still a relative term.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a one-hit knockout that would let you bypass the invulnerabilities that you get from Astro Harness. You can do that pretty easily with, say, Rebirth Raven by stacking Cloak of Destiny and Necron Scythe using a special 1 against a stunned opponent, stuff like that. But when you've got Tantu Totem on Deathstroke, that can help you wait it out and wait until they're no longer vulnerable. You just got to be a little bit careful because Deathstroke multi-hit special will generate a lot of power for the opponent if they don't block.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is that because you're primarily using a special 1, right? Even when you trigger Astro Harness for the shield, it doesn't take that long to get the power back to do another special 1, especially with the combo ender on the tap combo. You're doing so many hits, right?
True.
So you've got sort of a built-in thing to still do quite a bit of damage and to generate power really fast. And you're only spending a special 1. So the issue that you run into there, if you're playing it right, you know, a lot of times it's not that much of a big deal, right? You just, some characters are really well suited to just bypass all of those invulnerability periods.
Right. The other sort of weakness would be against a Red Sun Green Lantern team. And that's because the Red Sun Green Lantern has a passive that helps himself and all his Red Sun teammates so that there's no crit hits. And what that does is it brings a Flashpoint team back to Earth, right? Because if you're not doing crit damage, the crit damage boost, that passive is useless. I mean, it's relative because that affects every other team that's fighting against that Red Sun Green Lantern team. But it feels worse with a Flashpoint team because you're coming from so much damage and having it reduced from such so much more than almost any other team. And we've gotten away from using the Flashpoint team lately, not because it isn't good. It's a great team. It's probably one of the best. I feel like it's one of the best. But playing with all the lost challenge characters and all the challenge characters each week is just taking up a lot of time. I should point out one. I don't know if I'm going to move the needle at all. I feel like it's an unpopular opinion, but if I say it enough, maybe it'll become popular. Flashpoint Deathstroke is the best Flashpoint character. It assumes that you have Flashpoint Batman on the team, but on the team with both of them, Deathstroke is better than Flashpoint Batman. Because he's got better basics, and he's got better special 1. Flashpoint Batman, his special 2 is weak, and his special 1 doesn't enjoy the huge benefit like Deathstroke, because Deathstroke gets the crit damage, the boosted crit damage, and he gets more hits.
So there we go. That's your hot take.
Hot take. And hopefully it's not going to be so hot anymore, because if I keep on repeating it, maybe people will start believing it.
Moving on to the shop, we have Arkham Knight Catwoman for $12.99 Canadian. All of our information on real world dollar prices is going to be in Canadian, because we're from Canada. That's the information we've got.
And that's the only currency that matters.
Yeah. So it's $12.99. It's a corroborating clue. It's sort of our second piece of evidence that next week is going to be an Arkham Knight Catwoman challenge. It doesn't come with credits, but it is priced accordingly. It's priced, as cheap as these packs get. So, not a great deal. Always you're going to want to hold off and just play next week and earn it. Because then you also get the ability to buy it directly from your store, as long as you think you're going to be able to do that. But, it's also not as bad as these deals get.
Yeah, and the other one is, the other new pack is Red Sun Pack 2, $24.99. You get 3 out of the 6 Red Suns, and the breakdown in their percentage is they're basically 16% each for Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Deathstroke, or Green Lantern. And Solomon Grundy gets the extra 4% chance of bringing it to 100. He's a 20% chance. Of course, it is the highest chance to get in my opinion, the worst Red Sun character.
Yeah.
We've got a second week of the character bundle Batman vs. Superman, which we talked about last week. Bunch of other packs that are basically background noise now.
Forever. Yeah. Phantom Zone has one more week left. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Zod, Aquaman, and Shazam. And this coming weekend's should be Catwoman, Deathstroke, and Raven. We have a link in the description to the complete breakthrough cycle, which has been posted by Devlin16 to the Injustice Mobile subreddit if you want to check that out for yourself.
So as far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something significant changes, which did not happen this week. But even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month. Most recently, that was our recap from January the 4th.
Yeah, and it'll be next week's.
Right. And so it's important just to really point out that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on this week's Apocalypse Darkseid challenge.
So there we go. And that does it for this week. To finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to our patrons on the website Patreon, which you can become actually if you want to check out our Patreon and toss us a couple bucks. There's absolutely no obligation to, but we very much appreciate it. And The people who we are appreciating right now who've already done it are Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, Hoshi 127, and Nora Klimek, supporting us on the credited level, as well as the names scrolling past that have supported us at some point during the pandemic. So thank you so much for your support specifically, and thanks so much to all of you more generally for, watching, liking, commenting, really engaging with us however you do. It all helps in one way or another, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much to all of you, and we'll see you next time.
Komoda.